individuals like Cynthia and Edwina Bringle, who are in their mid 80s with no signs of slowing down. So I look at them as an inspiration that, hey, when I'm in my 70s, when I'm in my 80s, I better be, just as active and motivated and moving and creating. There's no reason to stop.
Welcome to Zestful Aging Podcast, where I speak with change makers from all over the world, from every walk of life, who will inspire you to live with zest. I'm your host, Nicole Christina, and my mission is to bring you optimism about aging and help you make full use of the new opportunities that only come at this stage of life. And to find out more about this podcast, hop on over to zestfulaging.com. Well, we have a great one for you today. The Golden Girls have nothing on Trailblazing twins Cynthia and Edwina Bringle. The 84-year-old artists are legends and resident artists at the renowned Penland School of Craft in North Carolina. The new documentary, Bringle, A Tale of Two Makers, was written and directed by artist Vincent Martinez, a Cuban-born Atlanta-based mixed media artist, filmmaker, and educator. And boy, we've got a lot of fun things to talk about today. Welcome to the show, Vincent.
I'm excited. Well, thank you.
There's so much to talk about because you do, when you say multimedia, you're not kidding. You are into everything.
Yes, I'm not sure how that happened, but yeah, I've got my hand in everything. It's actually overwhelming sometimes.
We'll talk about all the rest of it. I'd like to focus on your beautiful documentary first, and then we'll talk about, just a little spoiler alert, there are dogs involved, which is is always a popular theme on this show. So you are this Bringle, A Tale of Two Makers. These are women who are really phenomenal American fine crafts people. How did you first meet Cynthia and Edwina?
Well, that's a really great story because it actually starts in my youth. I was a young 22-year-old, and it's part of my history and my DNA because it all circles back to Penland School of Craft. I was finishing up a BFA in ceramics in college. I was born in Havana. I grew up in Miami. And my final semester, I knew I wasn't going to graduate school just yet. And my ceramics teacher said, hey, check out this school. Here's their catalog. Now, mind you, this is 1987. There's no internet. There's no Wi-Fi. So
no website.
No website. So I had to do everything the old-fashioned way. And I thought, okay, well, that's cool, but I can't really afford it. But I can apply for a scholarship. So I did. I got a scholarship. I went to Penland for 2 weeks in September of 87. And that's when I met Cynthia Bringle. She was co-teaching the class that I was taking. Well, I fell in love with Penland. I grew up really on the beach, sand, beaches, palm trees. I've never seen mountains before or the change of seasons. And I was ready. So I applied for their core student program. It's a 2-year program. I would love to reapply. But I lived there. I lived on campus for 2 years, and I was Cynthia's neighbor. I took care of her dogs. Then I met her sister, Edwina. And back then, I couldn't tell them apart, by the way.
Oh, my goodness. Okay.
Yeah. So this was in the late 80s. And, since then, I go back to Penland twice a year. I have the honor and privilege to serve on the board of trustees. And we've got two meetings a year and the big annual auction. And what was so great about this film is that I got to go to Penland probably 8 or 9 times during filming last year because I was shooting so much with Cynthia and Edwina. So I've known them for roughly 30, for 35 years, and I could
Wow.
say I know them pretty well. And after this film, I know them very well.
That from what I remember, correct me if I'm wrong, Vincent, but they were raised in rural, was it North Carolina or
No, it
oh,
was it was Memphis. It
oh,
was Memphis.
Memphis,
Yeah.
but they were not big city girls, right? These were women who grew up in was it rural and help me with
Well,
this.
you know, in the film really starts with their upbringing and their lives with their mom and dad.
Mhm.
Their father was a doctor,
Mm.
so they were in the city. They didn't speak too much about their lifestyle.
Mhm.
They spoke more about their relationship with their mother, father, and three brothers.
Mm.
So, yeah, I'm not sure how rural things were
Mhm.
for them per se. I
Mm.
think they were conservative, but
Mm.
their parents were really dream parents, and while they were stern, they still let them do whatever they wanted to do, creatively and professionally speaking. They
Mhm.
were
Yeah, that's
incredibly supportive.
yeah, that is pretty interesting, and maybe in my brain, I was sort of doing this switch where, back in that time, how shall I say, this is not a typical mainstream kind of career, particularly for women. And Cynthia talks about in the film, right? Like,
Oh yeah.
some sexism, and people saying, why are you doing this? And what do you hope to achieve here?
Yeah, Cynthia especially. I mean, she and her sister are so connected; they can finish each other's sentences.
Mm,
But Edwina was a teacher, was a professor at UNC Charlotte for 25 years.
mm,
She is a weaver, so her line of work professionally and traditionally, falls into your gender specific. That those are women
mhm, mhm,
jobs, right?
mhm. Traditional, yeah.
Traditional, exactly. With Cynthia, on the other hand, she started as a painter. And in the movie, she says, I fell into ceramics. I'm like, that is, yeah, you fell hard because she is so successful, so admired, referenced. She's in so many books and she just persevered. She just kept going. Men would look at her and just think, well, you're a young girl. And, what do you know about building an electric kiln? Women don't know about these things. It's kind of like, the old story where, the woman takes her car into the mechanic.
Aha, yeah, yeah, I could
Okay.
see that.
There's some similarities there. But Cynthia just kept going and kept working and really just made a name for herself. And
Mhm,
when her parents, and without giving too much away from the film, but when I said her parents were so supportive, there's Cynthia sharing a story about when she was young and working in ceramics, and I guess a family friend said something about, oh, how nice, Cynthia has a hobby, and her father
mhm.
quickly came to her protection and said, no, it's not a hobby, it's her business.
Wow. Yeah, dream parents is right. I mean, we're talking about women in the South, uh, 60 years ago?
Yeah.
Wow, that's something. My impression of Cynthia, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but she does not suffer fools.
No. Yeah. Yeah. They, part of their success, and I've asked myself this question 100 times so I can answer it, you know, respectfully without sounding, but Cynthia and Edwina are very strong-willed,
Mhm.
and I mean that in a good sense, that
Mhm.
they get what they want because they fight for it. Nothing came easy to them necessarily. in their careers, and they fought for it. So that's what I mean. They're very strong-willed, and that's
Mhm.
part of their success.
They have clarity about what they want to do, and they do not get sidetracked.
They don't. You're spot on. Exactly.
Mhm. How was it for you having been their student and admirer, and then now making this documentary where you are calling the shots in a sense, right? You're orchestrating all of this. You have an artistic vision. How did that work between the two of or the three of you?
I think it worked seamlessly. I came, as a young 20 something, I didn't have the confidence I have now, which I think is normal.
Hmm.
But I'm in my late 50s, and I one of the reasons I know for a fact that Cynthia and Edwina felt so comfortable filming with me is because of our history, because they know me so well and I know them
Hmm.
so well. So even
Hmm.
though I came into this as the director and executive producer, I was also their friend.
Hmm.
And it
So they
made,
trusted you.
they trusted me, I trusted them. It made answering my questions easier.
Mm.
And sometimes, it was tough because they're women of few words.
Hmm.
What they say packs a punch, but
Mm.
sometimes, and you know this from conducting so many interviews, I'm sure you get guests that you're like, okay, more, give me more. So there were times that got challenging during production because I was really, I wouldn't say struggling, but finding different ways of asking the same question.
I see. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I guess I was trying to put a word on it or an experience. They have a particular style and they're not chatty.
No,
They're
they're not.
very clear and concise, and you say packs a punch. It's like when they talk, you really lean in because they're going to say something of substance.
You're absolutely right. And there's some one-liners in the film. I mean, people laughed, the audience laughed at the right time, at the
Mm,
right moments, and they cried at the right moments. And it's very, I don't know what's the right word. It's not just interesting. It's almost mesmerizing. They're both very captivating
mhm,
when they speak, because what I did find, I mean, it's not like I didn't know this, but they're both incredibly intelligent,
mhm,
intellectual even. And so when they speak, they are the definition of concise.
mhm. Yeah, and there's wisdom. It just seems like they're just exuding wisdom, and they've experienced so much and had so much success, and then they have this bubble of being twins, which makes it even more captivating.
I think so. There's this fascination we have, I think society has, with twindom, as I
Mm,
call it. And if you're not a twin, I think you know what I'm saying. I've surely fantasized about having a twin when I was a child. I think,
mm,
maybe we all have, I don't know. But whenever I've met identical twins, especially, I just find them intriguing.
mhm,
And going into this, in our first day of shooting, of filming, they weren't answering the questions. They're very modest. And what I found, which was really brilliant, was Cynthia. Well, they feel better, more comfortable speaking about the other
mm,
than themselves. So Cynthia went off on, well, Edwina's done this and this and this and this. And
mm.
Edwina, well, Cynthia's accolades are these and these and these. So I thought, well, damn, this is great, because now it doesn't matter. I can address the question to either one of them and I'm going to get a response.
Mhm. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah. I recall she was Cynthia was making some, was it some plates and some some highbrow or celebrity
Oh,
tell the story. And she's like,
that,
yeah, I just grabbed him off my stock
my
or something.
gosh. No, this is, I mean, you're going to love this. You're going to love, I mean, I'm still like, are you kidding me? She, this was in 19, I might be 78, 1978, maybe it's 76. I don't remember. But Joan Mondale,
Mm.
so the vice president's
Mhm.
wife, was hosting along with Rosalind Carter a Senate wives luncheon in
Mhm.
the White House, and that administration was very passionate about craft and possibly Southern craft. So
Mhm.
they were commissioned to create, well, Cynthia was at least, dinnerware for this luncheon.
Mhm.
And it was a big deal. I mean, she even made it into the New York Times, and there were
Mhm.
clippings in the film. We scanned the actual, archival. It's yellow newspaper from the 1970s with a picture of Mrs. Carter, and then there's a picture of a platter that Cynthia made, and her name is in there. I'm like, wow, you are in the New York Times in the
Mhm.
1970s. So what happened the after the Senate lunch, I guess all the artwork stayed on display for a period of time, and eventually everything made it back to the artist. Well, Cynthia, I asked her the obvious question. So, did you
Mhm.
have it? What did you do with it?
Mhm.
And she said, well, I sold it. And I'm like, are you, what? What? Are you kidding me? She says, well, she goes, I was making dinnerware. I needed to fill the order, so I just used it. I just
She's
filled it with.
so yeah, she's just so, like, what's the word? Like, no affectation at all, right? She's
Yeah.
such a straight shooter.
Well, she's good about not placing emotional attachment to
Mm,
inanimate objects, which
mhm.
I'm the opposite.
Okay.
I mean, I could be a hoarder, and maybe I was in a former life. I'm not now. No, 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 no. I keep a very clean house. My husband, it would not would
Not
not
go
tolerate.
well.
No, but I save everything because it reminds me of this person or of this trip or of an experience. And the first time I met Cynthia in 1987, and I asked her this, and she doesn't remember saying this, but I remember it like it was yesterday.
Mm.
She told the class at Penland School, she said, don't fall in love with your work. You'll never
Uh-huh.
sell anything.
Oh my gosh. Mhm.
And I have to remind myself of that because, as you know, I'm also an artist, a mixed
Mhm.
media painter. And I fall in love with some pieces. And then I say, no, no, I can make another
Mm.
one. I want to sell it. Cynthia says,
Yeah.
sell it.
Yeah, yeah. Hi, everyone. Have you listened to my interviews with Dr. Bill Rawls? He's been on the show twice, and after I read his book on cellular health and learned about his high standards for quality control, I was sold. I placed an order for Vital Plant supplements immediately. And I encourage you to learn about his work by hopping over to vitalplan.com. If you enter Zestful15, they will give you 15% off your first order. I'm excited for you to try these products. I think you're going to be very impressed. Now back to the show. One of the things that makes this film and story, I think, particularly captivating is the sisters' age. At the time of their shooting, I believe they're 84 years old, and they're looking back on their lives and careers, and they look like they're in their 80s, as people do. And I'm wondering, uh, working with them, you've known them for so long. Have you had any reflections on your own aging, just as a human and an artist?
Well, Yes. I
Mm.
was thinking of something really witty to respond, but
Uh,
yeah, I have more so than ever, and also just mortality in general.
mhm.
I will be 58 this year, and especially when I find photos of myself in my 20s or younger, and I didn't have facial hair. I
Mm.
had hair on my head. uh,
Mhm.
so
The
so
change,
yeah,
the physical
I
changes you can't deny,
you
right?
can't deny. But then what gets confusing is that physically, I might, yes, I've aged like everyone else has, but I feel great. I mean, I don't know what 57 feels like because I feel fabulous, and I'm on the treadmill every day. I keep as fit as I can. I eat right. I have a very healthy lifestyle. But I'm getting older. But I will say, and I hope this is answering your question. But when I look at individuals like Cynthia and Edwina Bringle, who are in their mid 80s with no signs of slowing down, and I see actually my greatest inspiration is my mother, who's 78.
Mhm.
My mother is just a pistol. I mean, she drives. You should see her at Disney World. She sprints to go to the amusements. She is the youngest 78 I've ever met.
Mm.
And Edwina and Cynthia are right there too. So I look at them as an inspiration that, hey, when I'm in my 70s, when I'm in my 80s,
Mhm.
I better be, just as active and motivated and moving and creating. There's no reason to stop.
Yeah, they're inspirations. You, though, are in the world of fashion also, and they're not historically really friendly to people over, what, 25? How has that been for you to kind of it's interesting you've got your foot in both worlds because you do the fashion, you do all that runway stuff, and then you're talking to the Bringles who are like the epitome of zestful agers. What's that
Yeah,
been like?
it's been lovely actually, but I'm not a model. I've never been a model, nor am I a designer. I just love fashion, and that
Mm.
love of fashion started way back for me. If you remember, or your audience remembers, Elsa Clinch had a show on CNN. It was the first fashion show on TV. It was called
Hmm.
Style with Elsa Clinch on CNN. And
Hmm.
I just fell in love with fashion at that time. And in graduate school, I did an MFA in photography at RIT in
Mhm.
Rochester. And my work was very fashion based. And when I got to Atlanta many years later, uh, I started teaching fashion design. I took a few classes in college. So I started to teach it at the high school level, and I founded and created a fashion design program at the high school level, the only one of its kind in the state of Georgia, which I
Wow.
left in 2012. I left my job at the high school, and today that program is still active and flourishing.
Oh my
So
goodness.
I love women's wear. I love men's wear. I love dressing up. I love not dressing up. And my biggest involvement with fashion is really via the media and through my digital publication, fashionado.net, where I
Mhm.
do cover a lot of the shows from all the different fashion weeks. And I try to get up to New York Fashion Week every season because it's so exciting. And I will say that I'm happy to see there are older faces. I mean,
Mhm.
not only are we seeing finally inclusivity
Mhm.
in fashion
Mhm.
runways and campaigns, but not just from skin tone, but you're also seeing it in size and in
Mhm.
age.
Mhm. Yeah, I
Let's,
interviewed MA, who you probably know.
yeah, I do.
You do. She's actually a Syracuse University graduate, and she started up a program. You may know about this at Visual Performing Arts of Syracuse, which is about inclusivity in fashion, and she runs a contest every year. Um,
Wow.
So
No, I
sounds like
didn't I didn't know that. I've met her in Atlanta. I've actually interviewed her for my show, and
ah,
she's fabulous. So
yeah.
inspiring, just so down to earth.
Yeah, she really is.
I mean,
Yep, she
a
really is.
trailblazer herself.
For sure, for sure. So, I have to ask you about the dogs on the runway. Tell me about dogs on the runway.
Okay, so the actual name uh, is Doggies on the Catwalk. I wanted to play on the whole dog cat,
Yeah,
theme, and
yeah.
it started out many years ago when I was teaching my fashion classes at the high school, and I wanted to create an event that was a fundraiser. I believe that philanthropy starts at an early age. It's not
Mhm,
always about, how much you can give monetarily, but what we can give, as a human being to other organizations. So we wanted to raise money for pet-based causes. So we were an annual event for many years, and around I think year 8 or 9, we became a 501c3 nonprofit organization. We've raised hundreds of thousands of dollars for
mm,
pet-based causes over the years. But sadly, while it's still alive in name, we're still a business, but COVID got us. COVID got to us.
mhm,
As our final public event was on March 3rd of 2020. And after that, I just couldn't raise money any longer.
mhm,
We were not service based. We would raise funds and donate them to pet rescues or for education, for art education as well. And we just couldn't be asking for money when all these businesses were going
mhm,
under,
mhm,
and service based nonprofits were really struggling. We let that go. So,
mhm,
but it's still part of my legacy, and
mhm,
we started with dogs, where my students made clothing for the dogs, and we had local celebrity from the radio and from TV
mm,
model in the show, and and that's how it started. Very humble beginnings at a high school gymnasium. We ended the last few years on the penthouse suite of a national law firm. It's a gorgeous building, and
mhm,
Saks was our partner. So now we were using professional models in
mhm.
designer clothing like Balenciaga and Fendi, Yves
Oh
Saint
my
Laurent,
gosh.
and the dogs were naked, but we were working with service animals, so they had their service vests on.
Oh my gosh. How brilliant and just lovely in so many ways.
Yeah, we're dog lovers. We are
Yes.
big dog lovers.
Yes, yes, yes. So, boy, you have done so much. And I guess I'm curious what's in your future? I know that you're showing your film, you're going to film festivals, and people are loving it. Do you have a sense of what your next project is? Mm,
Yes, I do. I can't talk about it too much, but I want to continue at least for the next one with the female artist. So it'll be something similar with different people.
mhm.
But then, the other thing that we really haven't talked about is that I too have a show which I'm usually in front of the camera, and it's so nice when I'm not, when I'm behind
Mhm.
the lens, or in this case, which is just me and a microphone. I'm wearing a sweatshirt. Actually, it's a
Mhm.
Penland School of Craft sweatshirt, but
Ah,
I'm wearing a sweatshirt and shorts. I'm totally dressed
yeah,
down.
yeah.
But I've got Fashionado TV, and that is a series of interviews that
Mm,
I interview fashion designers, artists. I just interviewed my first real estate agent on the luxury market, which I thought was very intriguing. I've interviewed all kinds of people, and it streams on my YouTube channel, which is
mm,
Fashionado, but it also streams on a new streaming platform called Coco. That's with the KOKO, Coco Connect TV. So
Okay.
all of my interviews, which are about 20 to 30 minutes long, air on Coco Connect. So between filming for that and, the reason I'm not talking about my next documentary is because I'm securing the funding. Once
Mm-hmm.
the funding's in place, then I will tell everybody.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
But Pendlin will once again be a main character in the story.
Mhm. That's the mothership for you, Vincent.
Oh gosh, Pendlin is a magical place, Nicole. I
Mhm.
tell you, if you've not been down there, I mean, I recommend everyone. You don't even have to have any knowledge of whatever medium, whether it's ceramics or glass or painting or iron. There are so many classes for beginners, and it is really what I call heaven on earth.
Mhm. I am going to put that on my bucket list.
Please do. Maybe I'll see you there.
Yeah, that would be lovely. Okay, so the Coco Connect TV. So you are just busy, busy. Or are there times when you feel like, wow, I have to take a break and just relax and not be doing all these projects? Is that a challenge for you?
No, it's
Mhm.
not. It's
Good.
not. It's not. And once again, I will reference Cynthia and Edwina. It's not for
Mhm.
them either. This is what you do. The challenge, if I want to be completely honest, is how do you make a living off of this? How, these,
Mhm.
just because I make a painting doesn't mean it's going to sell.
Mhm.
So I've got to be somewhat strategic where I'm doing what I love to do,
Yes.
but I also have to, pay the bills.
Well, you're talking to a podcaster, and most podcasters, don't make a dime. It's actually a net loss because you're paying for your platform and all this stuff. So you could be really good at something and not necessarily be able to make a living.
I hear you 100% loud and clear. Yeah, that's
Mhm.
what Fashionado has been like for a long time. I pay for the platform and I do all this work and it doesn't always generate any revenue.
Mhm.
So it's a struggle, but hey, I'm happy, right?
Mhm. You certainly seem fulfilled and energized, and I think that's what we're all after. Is there anything you'd like to add, Vincent, before we end in terms of the audience who, people who might be a little bit curious, like, wow, I have a little more time on my hands. Maybe I'm retired. Maybe I'm starting to think about retirement. Maybe I'm part-time retirement, and crafts sound kind of interesting, but I'm also intimidated. For people around the world who may not just jump in the car and drive to North Carolina, do you have any thoughts about starting a creative artistic process?
You know, just do it. I mean, honestly, fear is so crippling, and and I'm speaking from experience.
Hmm.
Or I will overthink something and then not do it. So I have found in my own experiences now, if I want to paint a certain, subject, I just do it, even if it's not that good. If I
Mhm.
want to, you know, do anything that is creative, I just do it. And no one has to see it if I don't think it's good enough, and we also tend to don't define yourself with what is good or not good, because if you don't try it, you just don't know. And there are many programs in universities or in private art organizations where you can take a workshop in anything. Oh my gosh. I mean, I'm thinking of the ones that Penland offers, like bookmaking. I've
Mhm.
done bookmaking. It is so therapeutic. It's fabulous.
Mhm.
Or I've done basket weaving.
Mhm.
Glass blowing is hard.
Yeah,
That one I kind of I love to watch it, but I can't
it's
blow that hard into
intense.
that pipe.
Yeah.
But there's so many things, so many opportunities at every level, from beginner to intermediate and advanced. And I've got a friend who has retired, and he thinks he has doesn't have a lick of talent or creativity, and he's probably not wrong, but he's so fascinated with pottery that he's thinking about taking some workshops. now. And I told him, do it, do it. Don't
Mm.
let your fear stop you, or your lack of, knowledge of the medium stop you. Just do it, because you will learn something. And it really, I mean, I think art just feeds the soul.
So it sounds like what you're saying is not worrying about the end product. Like, this is going to be on display, it's so beautiful, but really enjoying the process and taking pleasure in the doing.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. It is, I speak with my husband all the time about experiences
Mm.
and living for these experiences. It's not about, we're going to Europe for Thanksgiving. We like to travel, and it's not about coming back with a bunch of souvenirs or
Mhm.
stuff. It's about the experience that we're going to share together in a new place. We just got back from the Tryon International Film Festival. As I said earlier, it was a wonderful experience, and not just the experience of having my film selected for the festival, but just being in Tryon. I've never been there. It's this beautiful small town. Nina Simone is from Tryon, by the
Oh,
way.
wow.
And we loved being there. We went to a number of restaurants. It's one of those downtowns where you can walk from, one end to the other.
Is this what state
It's
is
in
this
it's
in?
in North Carolina.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, it's in North Carolina. It's near the South Carolina border. Tryon is, I want to say, it's about maybe 40 minutes outside of Asheville.
Mhm.
Yeah. But yeah, I live for the experiences, Nicole. Don't get me wrong, I like nice things too, okay?
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
but that's not number one. Number one is the experience.
I think that also comes as we age. We realize, we have a room full of clutter, but what's really meaningful is walking our dogs and smelling the air and, looking at the nature and being present.
It is. It is. And it's funny you say I am literally one of those people that stops to smell the roses. Literally, I'm on a walk. If I see a flower, I stop to smell it. And I know it
Yeah,
sounds funny, but I
yeah,
promise you, if you're listening to this, next time
yeah.
you're on a walk and you
Mhm.
see a bloom, don't just walk past it. Stop,
Mhm.
because for those 3 to 5 to 10 seconds, it has the power to lift you and take you somewhere
Mm.
special.
Oh, what a beautiful, beautiful sentiment. I'm right with you. I'm in upstate New York, so the leaves are falling and the shafts of light are coming through the trees and there's sky drama and it's just, noticing it really is a sort of an all body experience. So I think we're going to end on that because I don't think we can do any better than that, Vincent. That is such
I agree.
such a beautiful sentiment. Thank you so much. And best of luck with all of these screenings. And the film is really gorgeous. And it was such a pleasure to talk to you today.
Well, Nicole, the pleasure is really all mine. You have been wonderful. I love your voice. I love
Oh,
being on your podcast. Thank you. I'm really honored. And
yeah.
one last quick thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Can I tell your audience where to find me?
Yes, of course.
The easiest way, my social media is all the same name. That way it's easy to find.
Yeah.
So for Instagram especially is at Fashionado. So it's FASHIONAD as in door O.
Okay.
Fashionado. Yeah,
Yes.
find me on there. I post good stuff on there.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Thank you for clarifying because we had a couple of different places to find you, but Fashionado is the best one to start, and then
Yes.
and then the film will be screening um, soon, few
Well,
weeks.
what I didn't say, the film will have a permanent public domain. It will be at the Western North Carolina Archives.
Okay.
So it'll probably happen in 2024,
Okay.
since we're still a little out. We're still doing some film festivals. So once we're out of that, we can go into the public domain, and that is the final resting place for the film, and that's where everyone will be able to see it.
And you'll announce it through your website, though? People will be able to know that
Yes.
it's okay. That's
Yes.
important because I think they would really, really appreciate it. Well,
Yes.
Vincent, it was a pleasure. Best of luck. And we'll be looking out for your film pretty soon. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Nicole. You have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us on Zestful Aging. If you like the podcast, please share it with some of your friends.
Our theme song is All I Did Was Wait for You by Kjartan Abel. Visit Kjartan-Abel, that's KJARTAN-Abel, ABEL.com to hear more of Kjartan's work. And our technical director is Stephen Litweiler. Hello, Zesties. Well, many of you know that I've been a psychotherapist for more than 30 years, and I'm an expert in healthy aging. But what you might not know is that I'm also a midlife coach, and I help women like you clarify and design the life you want to live in your second half. A life that's vibrant and feels uniquely like you. Maybe you've spent your entire life caring for others in one way or another, and you're a bit stuck with how to move forward in this new phase of your life. Or maybe you're considering a career change or other big life transition. Or maybe you're in the middle of a life change you didn't see coming. You may be asking yourself questions like, who am I now? And how do I build a new kind of life for myself? Or how do I make the most of the time I have left? This stage in our lives is the perfect time to pause, recalibrate, and reassess where our life is heading and ask ourselves what deserves our precious time. Now is the time to focus on what brings you joy and a sense of deep, calm contentment. I love helping women discover who they are in addition to being caregivers. After our sessions, you will have a clear plan for making your life more vibrant and deeply satisfying. You will feel a sense of control because you will be making choices that are perfect for you. And you will feel more confident because you will have an individualized blueprint to follow. And because you're a Zestful Aging podcast listener, I'm offering a special package deal. Contact me at zestfulaging.com right through my contact link. Time is truly precious, and there's no time to waste.
And stay tuned next week for another interview with a fascinating and inspiring guest. See you then.